So for right now, we're caught between the two cookies. What to do? Let's talk about nervous systems really fast here. We actually have 4 brains. Each of these brains has its own purposes. Each of these brains is evolved by Mother Nature. The observation, which I heard elsewhere, it is not original with me, is that for all of those of you who are Apple computer people, you can just take the next 30 seconds off. All of us who use Windows, we're going to be able to relate with this. The observation is that Mother Nature has designed our brains the way the Microsoft Corporation designed software. Okay? Which is you start with something on the bottom, that would be part 1 here, the reptile brain. Then you add in, that's the first brain. You add in the second brain on top of the first brain and hope the second brain eventually figures out how to deal with the first brain. And then you add in another brain that is capable of thinking about what the other 2 are doing and wondering what's wrong. And then you add in a fourth brain that says, oh, there must be a better way, right? So here's that first brain, reptile brain basically. Its job is physical survival. It doesn't think, it doesn't have a voice, at least as far as we can tell. It also doesn't have emotion. Its job is rather straightforwardly to resist being dead. Right? It's sort of like, and I don't mean to disparage the characters in mafia movies, but it's kind of like Joe Pesci in any of the movies you've seen Joe Pesci in. It ain't personal, it's business, right? This is how it operates. The second brain there is the paleomammalian brain, the old mammal brain. The old mammal brain, it takes the survival patterning, which is to not die, and it adds in a bunch of emotional distinctions. Really strong driver states. Almost at the edge of like things that we can understand as humans. It's not just fear, there's like a kind of rage that goes with it. And there's a kind of intensity and urgency to accomplish something. Those 2 brains we'll come back to in just a moment. The third brain is the primate brain. This is a brain that has a very, 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 very sophisticated sense of primate dominance dynamics. AKA every Wednesday meeting at the office, right? Every Monday morning at the office, every moment at the office, actually. It's all primate dominance dynamics. Who has the more powerful philodendron in their corner office, right? And then there's the fourth brain, our prefrontal lobes here. This is the brand newest part of us. It's why our foreheads are vertical. Yeah, Mother Nature just said, okay, and just had to make room for that. And this stuff appears really recently. This little bit of tissue right here behind our forehead. The people who notice these things notice that bit of brain connected very powerfully to the heart center. And they notice that bit of brain being one of the many ways that we connect with the non-local, with the non-physical, with the mystical. Each of these 4 brains has its own objectives. And they are hugely in conflict. So we'll notice our 4 here. And what I want to put our attention on is that little bullseye there. All right? That's what we call the critter brain. It's that reptile brain and that very old mammal brain. For that creature brain, there is a very simple calculus. It does not occur with words. It does not occur with thought. But it occurs every moment. And the calculation is this. For that part of us, which doesn't think, doesn't speak, and doesn't necessarily know there's a human being living upstairs, except insofar as you ever lived in an apartment with really talkative people living upstairs, right? You can hear them up there. You have no idea what they're doing or why, please, yeah? For our creature neurology, the experiences we learn to survive, the threatening, awful stuff. For our creature neurology, the threatening, awful experiences become the experiences upon which continued surviving will depend. We're going to come back to that. This is what we call survival equivalence. If survival is equivalent to surviving a certain experience, then without that experience there is no survival. It's not human. It is creature, and it is one of the things, it is the thing that lets us be here to even discuss these things with each other. Right? So the survival equivalence is if a child, and we're talking because survival equivalences are set up very early. They're set up, as far as I can tell, somewhere between the third trimester and about age 3. Yeah. These are the least competent people in the world. Third trimester fetuses, they're not known for their linear clarity and stuff. They are nervous systems that are learning. They go full term, they are born, here we are in the world. That nervous system continues to learn. If that nervous system encounters an experience that is for it very nearly deadly and it does not kill it, it doesn't make it stronger. I really disagree with that. It doesn't make it stronger. It just makes survival equivalent to surviving that. So in a survival equivalence, let me give you sort of a straightforward kind of primary color example. Supposing there is a child who learns to survive extraordinary shame in the household, and they will learn to survive it if they do not perish from it. And I'm talking now about the kind of experience of shamed to death shame. Let's go with that. Shame to death kind of shame. The person does not perish. They don't die. Their brain, their creature brain, learns to associate that state of shame with the experience of continuing to exist or continuing to survive. It serves an equal sign there. Survival equals surviving the shame. That person grows up. They get to be 18 or whatever age they're going to reach for their emancipation or start to. They get out of the house and they say, yay, I'm out of the house. I don't have to deal with that shame anymore. And what is the first thing they do? We all know this. What is the first thing they do? They get into a relationship with, or they go to work for someone who generates exactly the same kind of shame they're adapted to. And they say, wow, what are the chances of that? That I would be born into a household where there's that kind of experience and then leave, and that's the first thing I run into. Wow. And then so they get out. Well, there was a time when people did not leave that relationship. They did not leave that job. They were settled in for life. More recently, people leave jobs, they leave relationships, and then it happens again and again. And we kind of go, wow, what is wrong with me? Right? Here and here it's bewildering and really bad for morale. And here it's heartbreaking. But here, in our creature neurology, it's 100% thumbs up. In fact, if we go to work for someone who does not know how to generate that shame, or we get into a relationship with someone who does not know the choreography of that shame with us, we go, yay, glad I outgrew that. And then after a little while in the relationship or a little while on the job, we wake up one morning and we say to ourselves, I don't know, there's just something missing in this relationship.